Hello viewers, today we shall start a new series in Bachelor of Population Studies. I shall start with the paper that is Demography of India, and the first lecture of this paper is entitled Demographic Profile. Demographic characteristics of a country provide an overview of its population size, composition, regional distribution and the changes therein. The knowledge of demographic profile is essential for the country as well as states to identify the areas that need policy intervention, setting near and far term goals and deciding priorities beside understanding them in an integrated structure. The demographic profile can be further subdivided into two parts: population statistics and vital statistics. Population statistics include indicators that measure the population size, sex ratio, density and dependency ratio, while the vital statistics include indicators such as birth rate, death rate and natural growth rate, life expectancy, at birth, mortality and fertility rates. This chapter throws light on these basic indicators. The main objective of this chapter is to understand the growth and composition of population in India along with their vital statistics. India is the largest democracy of the world. It is home to 17.5% of world's total population on merely 2.4% of world's surface area. At present, a little more than out of every 6 person in the world is from India. As per census figures, the population of India on 1st March 2011 was 1210.2 million. It was almost equal to the combined population of USA, Indonesia, Brazil, Pakistan, Bangladesh and Japan put together. The population of these 6 countries totals 1214.3 million, and which is quite close to India's population. Between 2001 and 2011, the population of India that has increased by more than 181 million. The absolute addition is slightly lower than the population of Brazil, the 5th most populous country in the world. The growth of population in India since 1901 can be observed from figure 1. The figure shows that population of India was merely 238.40 million in 1901, which grew to about 1028.7 million in 2001 and further to 1210 million in 2011. Further, the figure shows that out of total population in 2011, the number of males were 623.72 million, while that of females it was 586.47 million. This shows that the sex composition of population in India is not in favor of the females. They constitute about 48.7% of total population in India. The male female gap in population that seems to be growing since 1901. The female share in total population in 1901 was 49.23% and there were only 34.32 lakh fewer women than men, but this gap widened to 357.09 lakh in 2001 and again 372.55 lakh in 2011. But the true picture that can be observed from sex composition of population. The sex composition of population is indicated by the sex ratio. The sex ratio is defined as number of females per thousand of males. In a society with gender equality, the sex ratio should be close to 1000. Any shortfall from 1000 shows that there are fewer number of females vis-a-vis males. Biologically, females have higher life expectancy than males. Therefore, in a society providing equal treatment for males and females in case of health and nutritional standards, the number of females should be higher than the males. That is, the sex ratio can be greater than 1000 for a society with gender equality. Therefore, even a small shortfall of the sex ratio from 1000 naturally indicates an unfavorable sex ratio for the females. Ironically, the sex ratio in India had always remained lower than 1000. This can be observed from figure 2. The figure shows that the sex ratio of the country was 972 in 1901, which gradually declined and reached at 946 in 1951 and to 933 in 2001. The country has a sex ratio of 940 females per 1000 males in 2011, which has shown slight improvement during the last decade, but the country never reached the level of 1901. Actually, due to overt sex discrimination against a woman, which is a reflection of deep-rooted patriarchy in Indian society, the female babies are not preferred ones. They are neglected from their birth and are never given adequate care, leading to deaths of the female infants or female children. Therefore, it is important to look at the child sex ratio. An adverse child sex ratio will lead to an adverse sex ratio for overall population of the country. Here, the child sex ratio is defined as the sex ratio for the age group 0 to 6 years. Like the sex composition of total population, the sex composition by age groups is vital for studying the demographic trends of young population, its future patterns, and particularly the status of the girl child. At the census 2011, the sex ratio of the population in the age group 0 to 6 years has been registered as 914 in India, declining from 927 in 2001, 945 in 1991 and 962 in 1981. The decreasing sex ratio in this group has a cascading effect on population over a period of time, leading to diminishing sex ratio in the country. One thing is clear, the imbalance that has set in at this early age group is difficult to be removed and would remain to haunt the population for a long time to come. Yet, figure 3 shows that for last 3 decades, we have witnessed the cascading trends of child sex ratio and the overall sex ratio of Indian population. The age composition of population shows the distribution of population in different age groups. The age composition of population also shows the share of productive population and dependent population in total population of the country. High birth rates during past decades followed by low ones in the subsequent time periods have led to increase in population size and the proportion of the population in the age group 14 to 59 years. This phenomena has led to the situation of demographic dividend in India. The demographic dividend is defined as the population structure in which the proportion of working age population, that is the population in age group 14 to 59 years, is higher than that of the dependent population, that is 0 to 14 years and more than 60 years. With fewer births each year, a country's young dependent population grows smaller in relation to the working age population. With fewer people to support, a country has a window of opportunity for rapid economic growth. In India, we can observe a gradual decline in the share of population in the age group 0 to 14 from 41.2% to 38.1% during 1971 to 1981 and 36.3% to 29.5% during 1991 to 2011. Whereas the proportion of economically active population, that is the age group 15 to 59 years, has increased from 53.4% to 56.3% during 1971 to 1981 and 57.7% to 62.5% during 1991 to 2011. On account of better education, health facilities and increase in life expectancy, the percentage of elderly population, that is 60 plus age group, has gone up from 5.3 to 5.7% and 6 to 8% respectively during the periods under reference. The population pyramid showing the distribution of population by age group and by sex has been shown in figure 4. Figure 4 shows that although the population in millions is the highest in the age group 0 to 15 years for both males and females, but we can observe the bulge of population in the age group 15 to 60 years. The phenomena of demographic dividend in India can be better understood with help of percentage share of population in age group out of total population in India. This can be observed from figure 5. Figure 5 show that the proportion of the age group 15 to 59 years out of total population in India in 2011 census is 62.5%, while that of the age group 0 to 4 and 60 plus is 9.7% and 8% respectively. The table has also shown the age structure by sex. Since the sex ratio at the birth and between the age group 0 to 6 years is unfavorable to the females, we can see from the table that the proportion of female population in younger age group, that is up to 14 years of age, in total population is lower than that of the males, while in the age groups more than 15 years of age, the respective proportions are higher for females than the males. Another important characteristic of the demographic profile of the country is density of population. The density of population is defined as the number of persons living per square kilometer of the area. The population density of India has gone up to 382 persons per square kilometer in 2011 from 325 persons per square kilometer in 2011, from 325 persons per square kilometer in 2001 and merely 73 in 1901 and 110 in 1951. The increase in density of population in India can be observed from figure 6. The figure shows that the increase in density of population has been sharper after 1981, while the period between 1901 and 1951 has shown a slower rate of change in population density. The density of population has a strong positive association with economic growth. as the agricultural productivity and or industrial activity in a particular area increases, the density of population also increases. The population moves to the area with greater income generating opportunities. This explains why the population density is higher in the metropolitan areas than the small towns and the villages. The NCT of Delhi and Chandigarh have the highest population density in the country, while Arunachal Pradesh, Andaman and Nicobar Islands have the lowest one. The population density of top 5 and bottom 5 states and UTs is given in table 2. The population density in NCT of Delhi is 11,297 persons per square kilometers, followed by Chandigarh with 9,252 persons per square kilometers as compared to merely 17% in Arunachal Pradesh. Now, if we come to the vital statistics of the demography of India, so I should say that the vital statistics of the demography of a country that include the birth rate, death rate and the natural growth rate, life expectancy at birth, mortality, fertility rate, etc., etc. These indicators are actually qualitative in nature as compared to the quantitative nature of the population statistics. These indicators thus show the quality of life in a country. The vital statistics of demographic structure of India are given as follows. First of all, let us discuss about birth rate, death rate and natural growth rate. Now, what is birth rate? This is actually the concept of crude birth rate, and this crude birth rate is defined as the number of live births in a year per thousand of the mid-year population. In figure 7, the green line is for birth rate in rural areas. The red line shows the same for urban areas and the blue line shows the average birth rate of the rural and urban areas taken together. The figure shows that the birth rate declined from 29.5 in 1991 to 22.1 in 2010. The birth rate of rural population had declined from 30.9 in 1991 to 23.7 in 2010, whereas the birth rate of urban population had declined from 24.3 in 1991 to 18 in 2010. Now, coming to the crude death rate. The crude death rate is measured as number of deaths in a year per 1000 of mid-year population. The figure 8 shows that the crude death rate in the country declined marginally during the period 1991 to 2001 from 9.8 in 1991 to 7.2 in 2010. The death rate of rural population had declined from 10.6 in 1991 to 7.7 in 2010, whereas the death rate of urban population had declined from 7.1 in 1991 to 5.8 per thousand of population in 2010. On the other hand, the natural growth rate of population is measured by the difference of birth rate and death rate. It indicates the natural growth of population of a country. The figure 9 shows that natural growth rates declined during the period 1991-2000 from 19.7 in 1991 to 14.9 per thousand of population in 2010. The natural growth rate of rural population had declined from 20.3 in 1991 to 15.9 per thousand of population in 2010, whereas for urban population it had declined from 17.2 in 1991 to 12.2 per thousand of population in 2010. The population, however, continued to grow as the decline in birth rate is not as rapid as the decline in the death rate. Now, coming to this life expectancy, the life expectancy is defined as the number of years an average citizen expects to live. This is also termed as longevity. The life expectancy in a country is determined by several factors such as mortality rates, nutritional status of children and females, access to medicines, level of economic development, public health facilities, social protection, etc. Life expectancy is one of the most preferred indicators in demographic and health analysis of any nation. It is also an important component of Human Development Index, which measures the relative position of a country in the world economy. The life expectancy in India has been increasing for last many decades, but still it is much lower than those registered by the developed countries. The life expectancy in India has increased from 22.9 years in 1901 to 1911 to 41.3 years in 1951 to 1961, 60.3 years in 1991 to 1995. The actual and projected values of life expectancy in India are shown in figure 10. The figure shows the life expectancy for males and females separately. It is clear that between 2001 to 5 and 2006 to 10, the life expectancy has improved for both males and the females. It has increased from 63.8 to 65.8 years for the males and 66.1 to 68.1 years for the females. It is expected that during 2011 to 2015, the life expectancy would grow to 67.3 years for males and 69.6 years for females, which is further expected to rise to 69.8 years for males and 72.3 years for females during the period 2021 to 2025. The mortality rates are defined as the number of deaths per thousand of population. These rates can be found for a specific group, for example, the mortality rates among the females, mortality rates for the infants, etc. The infant mortality rate is defined as the number of infant deaths in a year per thousand live births during the same year. The infant mortality rate in the country has shown a declining trend during the period 1993 to 2010. This can be observed from figure 11. The figure shows that the infant mortality rate had declined from 74 per thousand live births in 1993 to 47 per thousand live births in 2010. the infant mortality rate of rural population had declined from 82 per thousand live births in 1993 to 51 per thousand live births in 2010. Whereas, the infant mortality rate of urban population had declined from 45 per thousand live births in 1993 to 31 per thousand live births in 2010. The infant mortality rate had steadily been declining, though it had been higher in rural areas. The mortality rates can also be found among newly born babies, termed as neonatal mortality rates. The neonatal mortality rates are measured as the ratio of number of deaths of the infants of age less than 29 days to 1000 live births in that year. The neonatal mortality rates in the country are shown in figure 12. The figure shows a declining trend during the period 1993 to 2009 from 47.1 in 1993 to 34 per thousand live births in 2009. The neonatal mortality rate of rural population had declined from 52.3 in 1993 to 38 per thousand live births in 2009, whereas for urban population it had declined from 28.4 per thousand live births in 1993 to 21 per thousand live births in 2009. Another important indicator of mortality rates is maternal mortality rate, which measures the number of women aged 15 to 49 years dying due to maternal causes per 1 lakh live births. The trends in maternal mortality rates in India are shown in figure 13. Although the maternal mortality rate dropped from 212 deaths per 1 lakh live births in 2007 to 2009 to 178 in 2010 to 2012, India is far behind the target of 103 deaths per live births to be achieved by 2015 under the United Nations mandated Millennium Development Goals. A high rate of maternal mortality is an indicator of low level of maternal care in the health system of the country, low nutritional standards among the females, and also some elements of gender discrimination in the society. Poverty, insanitary living conditions, and lack of knowledge about maternal care during the crucial years of pregnancy and early childbirth days are also some important reasons behind a high maternal mortality rates. Now we come to the conclusion of today's lecture. This chapter has discussed various demographic features of India. These include the population statistics as well as the vital statistics. We have observed that although the birth rate, the death rate in the country is declining, the infant mortality and the maternal mortality has also been significantly reduced since independence, and the life expectancy has increased, but still the population of our country has many undesirable features such as an adverse sex ratio, unmanageable density of population, and lower than targeted achievements in case of mortality rates, birth rates, fertility rates, etc. The rural areas have exhibited more of the adverse features as compared to the urban areas. The rural areas have higher birth rates as well as the higher death rates as compared to their urban counterparts, but still the natural growth of population is higher in rural areas than the urban ones. Similarly, the rural areas show relatively high infant mortality rates. This points towards the low quality of health facilities and related infrastructure in rural areas, while urban areas have some sort of urban advantage in this regard. This draws our attention towards the need of policy focus on the rural areas, where a large segment of population of the country resides. Until these areas are not provided with adequate health facilities, the adverse features of the demographic profile of the country cannot be removed. With this, we come to the end of this lecture. I hope you must have enjoyed this lecture. In the next lecture, we will talk about population growth and density. Till then, bye bye, have a nice time.